Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to follow the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Leeds Central, and not that I will agree with much of what he said, but I do have to say that I fully respect his ability and his strength of purpose, in line with what my Right Honourable and learned friend said, to stand by his convictions, and therefore I feel privileged to follow him. Can I say also today is a privilege for me, as it is for many of my colleagues, to speak in this bill. I rise without any doubt to support the government and support, therefore, the passage of this bill. And I commend, actually, the Right Honourable Gentleman, the spokesman for the opposition, who I thought made a particularly measured speech with regards to what this bill was about and what it was not about. I thought the Right Honourable Gentleman, in his words, was very clear. And I commend him for them, because I actually agree with them. He said that this is about giving the government the right to invoke Article 50. It's not about anything more. And he talked in his interesting speech about that no place but here can have the right to change the domestic laws. And I agree with them on that, and that's the whole point why I have urged them, as my honourable friends have done over a period of time, to ensure that we repealed the 722 Act at the same time. Strictly speaking, that wasn't necessary under Article 50, but domestically it is the right thing to do, and it answers, I hope and believe, those who say, but what will we do about all these issues? They're in the 722 Act. Every element of the membership of the European Union is within that Act, and I am certain that this House will debate this until long after the hours close and get a decision on that. And can I therefore also, in following my Right Honourable and learned friend, the member for Rushcliffe, who I have a huge amount of respect for. We've served in the same government together. We have debated this issue for a long, long time. There is nobody that I respect more in this House than my Right Honourable friend. He is as constant as the compass. There is absolutely no way that you would have any doubt as to where he was going to be on any of these positions, even specifically on this, but on many others. And when we were in coalition, as I look across to my honourable friend at that time, he will also agree that in Cabinet you absolutely knew where my Right Honourable learned friend was going to be on a lot of issues, and that wasn't always where the government was, by the way. Invariably it wasn't, in actual fact. Yes, I give way to my honourable friend.
Mr. President, not only is our Right Honourable and learned friend to be respected for his views on Europe, about which he has been entirely consistent and courteous, but surely he was one of the most remarkable Chancellors of the Exchequer our country has seen.
I do not doubt that at all. In fact, so successful was he that he managed to tie up the following government all sorts of knots as they sought to pursue his policies without any of the drive or intelligence as to how they were going to do it. But I just want to say that my purpose today is only simply to explain that for me, I oppose the Maastricht Treaty, and I have felt for some time I did not actually want to leave the European Union. Just in case anybody asked me, I actually originally voted to join the European Union, or as it was then, the common market. And my sense about this was in Maastricht that I decided that there was something fundamentally wrong with the direction of travel. I'm going to raise a name of an individual that not many people in this House ever debate. He is a man called Altiero Spinelli, and he was the architect of both the Single European Act, essentially, and also of the Maastricht Treaty. And the reality was that his purpose was quite clear. He believed, and I want to quote him, that the whole purpose of the European project was very much about the eradication of the nature of the nation-state. And he said, if post-war order is established in which each state retains its national sovereignty, the basis for a Third World War would still exist. I don't agree with him, and I never did. My sense about this was the reason why we fell into that terrible cataclysm of the Second World War following the Great Depression was the absence of democracy and, most importantly, robust democratic institutions in many of the states of Europe. And it has always been my view that where we have democracy and strong democratic institutions with open trade, where people trade with each other, war will never happen. It is because those democracies will simply not do that. And therefore I sense about this is the direction of travel of the European Union from that moment of Maastricht was bound on a course that was going to lead to the UK ultimately deciding that it could no longer stay within it. And therefore I agree with much of what my right honourable learned friend said. Yes, I come to a different conclusion, but I want to say from a start, I fully respect any of those who decide today to vote against the triggering of Article 50. They were sent here to use their judgment. And no matter what else, yes, I believe the British people have made that decision, but nonetheless, as MPs, I have to say, our job is to use our judgment on these matters. And so if somebody chooses to oppose it, I respect that. I disagree with them, but I think that they deserve a hearing, and we should in no way attempt to shout them down whatsoever. Can I just say, yes, I'll give way to the Honourable Lady.
I thank the honourable member for giving way and his thoughts on democracy. Would he accept that in this House members of Parliament have less information on this crucial decision than the average local ward councillor on their budget, their annual budget?
Well, I'm grateful to that intervention. I have to say to the Honourable Lady, I don't actually agree, because over the last 40 years, if anybody in this House doesn't have enough information to make a decision about this, I wonder where they've been in the last 40 years, or the years that they've spent in here. Of course we have enough information. The question that she's referring to is the publication of the White Paper. And the government has said they're going to publish the White Paper. I stand by that. I think that's a very good idea, although I must say that my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, made a pretty good fist of it in her recent speech, in which she set out 12 points that would guide her negotiation. I do hope the government reprints that with a couple of diagrams, the odd explanation and a nice picture. And I think that'll make an excellent White Paper. Can I also say that the important point about this is I don't agree with my honourable friend that my party is somehow anti-immigrant. Absolutely not, and that is the one area I would say not. It is this party, when I was in government with him, in coalition, but also subsequently, it's this government which has done more to help those who were dispossessed as a result of the wars in Syria and Libya and Afghanistan than any other country I can imagine. And I think, therefore, as a government and as a country, we should be proud of our support for immigration. Whatever other countries choose to do, we put ourselves on the side of those who flee terror.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way and for that clarification. We are not anti-immigrant. I don't think anyone is that voted to leave the European Union. There's a big difference between being anti-immigrant and anti-uncontrolled immigration. And it was that the British public were anti. They wanted control, and many people of different backgrounds voted to leave the European Union.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend, and that's the point. They wanted to take back control. They are not anti-immigration. They simply want to make sure it is controlled migration at a level that the country can absorb without any of the difficulties. And that's where we should be on this. That's where my party should be. That's where we stand. And I intend to pursue that as pro-migration. I'm not going to give way. I've got literally a matter of seconds, and he will have plenty of time to do this. The only thing I disagree also with my honourable friend is that we are not the Hatters Tea Party. I think the Hatters Tea Party is sitting in the opposition at the moment. It's not know who the mouse is or who the Hatter is, but anyway, I'm sure they'll tell us that later on. And I want to conclude by simply saying that, having listened throughout to all of these debates, I tonight will be voting in this to trigger Article 50 tomorrow. I will be voting to trigger Article 50 simply because I believe that all the mistakes of the past were that somehow you can place your trust in a larger body and they will do a lot of your protections for you. You cannot. As a nation-state, we can be in Europe but not run by the European Union, and that is why I'm voting to trigger Article 50 tomorrow.